Hey guys, welcome back to Garage Football. We've just watched Man United beat West Ham 1-0 at Old Trafford in a, well, let's say underwhelming game. Let's put it with one way to put it. I'm joined by Jeff, Charles, and Dennis. Please subscribe to Garage Football if you're new. Like this video if you enjoy it, and leave your thoughts, comments, man the match, etc. in the live chat. Guys, as I say, wasn't the best game, was it? Lost 1-0. Third time lost to Man United this season. Jeff, your thoughts on the game overall, mate?
I thought Gary Neville nailed it when he said that if you set up that way, it's fine if you actually get the result you wanted. But the second you ship that one goal, it goes to pot. So I actually thought this one's on Moyes. He's earned enough credit with me for me not to be ranting and raving on Twitter about his team when I first see it. Now I always give the benefit of the doubt because he deserves that. But, on reflection, this one's on him. You thought he might have learnt from the last time. We showed Liverpool a lot of respect and just got turned over. And we did the same. We set out the same way and did the same again today. Obviously, we didn't get turned over quite so badly, but we didn't need to show them as much respect as we did. I mean, we're a far better team. If we go out and play, we can match teams up man for man. And we're playing them. They're in second or third, wherever they are, and we're in fifth. It shouldn't be a case of man versus boy, should it? We should be two teams having a bit of a shootout. So I was disappointed with how we set up, and the inevitable happened, didn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't have said any better, mate. Charles, your thoughts overall, mate?
Missed opportunity, simple as. I think clearly. I agree with Jess. I think in terms of, there definitely has to be some blame for Moyes, especially in terms of choosing that starting lineup, because, as we saw after Man U scored, you chuck on a couple of creative players and suddenly you have a better lineup. But it was just a really frustrating game. Man United looked pretty piss poor throughout. They really didn't look threatening. I mean, they had some sort of, I guess, threatening pacey players, but all in all, it was just, Fabianski kept us in it with a couple of really good saves. We'll obviously talk about that later, but again, just a real massive missed opportunity, especially with results going our way yesterday. And I just feel that Moyes got it wrong with the starting lineup selection, and let's hope that it doesn't affect us too much in terms of trying to sneak into those top four places.
You agree with that, Dennis?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far. I think one of the best, but one of the key thing that Jeff said is that in the past, we'd look at the lineups and we would go, oh my God, what's going on? But we give Moyes the benefit of the doubt, we give Moyes a chance. That is testament to this season, testament to the fan base this season, because again, as you watch the watch along, I did have a bit of a pap. I lost my temper with like 4 or 5 fans, different fans saying, what are you annoyed about? And I'm like, we can be annoyed even if we are punching above our weight. As Charles said today was a missed opportunity. All of our position rivals, I told you, Bill, when we went off air for the North London derby, all our positional rivals are drop points. Essential we get something from this game.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, looking back, we didn't really have a chance. I think there was Bowen had that free header that he looped wide, but he was offside anyway. We didn't really have a chance all game,
No shots on target.
Yeah, so let's say you're Doctor Strange and you can go back in time a little bit. You start Benrahma. I'm saying hypothetically, you start Benrahma in a more advanced, more courageous formation. What harm does it do? What's the difference between losing 1-0 and 2-0? Goal difference is very. There's a big goal difference gap between everyone around us. Spurs and Chelsea have a far superior goal difference. I'd rather give it a go and lose 2-0 in that situation than sit back and go 1-0. I'm going to go full Angus on my analysis on that. When he said about Liverpool, I'm of that mindset in this one. I'd rather have been adventurous today. But I understand Moyes' logic. I'm not going to slate Moyes for the lineup because I understand what he was trying to do. And it's not David Moyes' fault that the club has been asset stripped to the point where we have 14 outfield players, 14 that have played more than 1 minute of football for us, and one of them is Connor Coventry, who rarely gets on the bench. You know, sorry, Premier League football, I should say there, because Alderweireld played some minutes in the cup. Yeah, you know, it's not David Moyes' fault. That comes from up top. Nothing will change till they're gone, but they're probably not going away now. And the narrative now is West Ham fans, if they complain, are going to be ungrateful. Look at you, you're fifth. And from the outside looking in, it makes sense. It's definitely a missed opportunity. I'm frustrated, but you know, as long we got to beat Arsenal now. This is what I talk about, and Charles knows this. Talking about the pressure from the last game, I'll talk about. So when we beat Leeds, it was like, okay, there's a little bit less pressure coming into United, but now there's pressure coming into that Arsenal game because we lost against United.
Yeah,
got to get something against Arsenal. You know, and they're going to be on a high after that North London derby. I wasn't particularly impressed solely by them. I'm glad they won, but I don't think they were all that. Yeah. I think we're capable of beating them with Jesse Lingard. I don't think Fornells is going to be fit in time, but if we can get Jesse Lingard come back in fit like a glove, hopefully just bring him in for Mark Noble, go 5 at the back with Jesse Lingard playing just on top of or out to the left, or maybe something like that with Bowen out right, or start Ben Rama for Bowen, play him left, play Lingard right. That's what I'd like to see against Arsenal. But we got to have a performance against Arsenal now. We can't lose 2 on the bounce. I think top 4 is out of our reach as a club. I think it is. I've said that for a little while. It's a bit of a pipe dream. And I think Chelsea are just going to grind it out. Leicester and Man United are pretty much safe, I reckon, now after these results. It's a good, nice little cushion for them. But there's no reason we can't finish 5th. There's no reason. And I'd be over the moon with 5th. That'd equal our best Premier League position. We got to beat Arsenal. Today was a missed opportunity, but it's done. Don't look back. Look forwards.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think that first half, lads, I think it was a combination of our defensive mentality and formation, and the fact that United played on Thursday, and obviously went right to the end against Milan. So as much as both teams, particularly United, were keeping the ball, didn't actually offer a great deal in that first sort of 20 minutes anyway. But then United, the first real chance of the game, they should have gone ahead. Mason Greenwood was on the right, a really good cross to the back post. Marcus Rashford, he should have scored. That should have been 1-0. And then about 10 minutes before half time, Lucas Fabianski, I don't know if it was the case for you lads, but for me, it was our man of the match without a doubt. He pulled off a brilliant save to deny, I think it was Greenwood, wasn't it? Yeah, Fernandes. And Fernandes, yeah. Really good, got his right hand to it and tips onto the post. But then, half time, United had 8 shots, 2 on target, and West Ham had no shots whatsoever. So I think that summed up the first half, didn't it? Charles, what are your thoughts on? Obviously, we talked about the formation, but I think the mentality was, for me, where it went really wrong, because we showed against Man City away, by far our toughest fixture in the running, where we showed that defensive solidity, but looked a real threat going forward. But that wasn't the case for the whole 90 today, but particularly in that first half. Yeah,
and I think part of that has to be put down to Moyes as well in terms of the setup that he's brought out, because obviously when we've been given a chance and a license to attack more, we're quite a confident team. But when you sit back for large periods of the game, like we did today, you're basically asking to always be on your guard, always be making that tackle, making that block, or whatever it is. And you just, up top as well, there was just I felt bad for Antonio and Bowen, because they didn't necessarily have terrible games, but they were just so isolated. Like, they had no chance of creating anything. So the mentality definitely wasn't as it has been over the course of the season. But I just hope that, as Dennis says, we get a few reinforcements back in for the Arsenal game, and potentially kind of turn our fortunes around. But certainly not. Certainly not the result that I wanted, especially with how poorly Man U played. But I'm sure we'll get onto that later on.
Yeah, what do you think, Dennis? Obviously we'll come on to the second half in a minute, where things improved a little bit. That first half was just so underwhelming. And as Charles said, I think United, as much as they created a couple of chances, they weren't at their fluent best either.
No, it was a bad game of football. There was comparisons to the first half against Brighton. So I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to reenact the Simpsons reference. I've done it already, but it was just like, you know, it was minus the goal for Brighton. It was the same, which was a completely cack goal. Let's be fair, for looking at that Morphe goal. It'd be like, how did that happen? You know, like short of that, same vibes, same energy. Really, it was disappointing. It was lackluster. It was. I got the feeling that United were a little like. I think Ollie had told us to go out and respect us a little bit. Purely because he had seen what we could do, but I think he was expecting a different lineup to what we actually had. I don't think he expected Fornells to be out. No one did. Yeah, so it was just what was United nowhere near their best. I mean, I think United are a better team than a lot of people give them credit, but most people compare them to their glories of old. It's only natural. But both teams are capable of more. The players that are out there, although not the formation, not the lineup I would have done, they were capable of doing more than they did in the first half, and it really tells that when we'll come on to it. But when the changes second half, Charles, we can speak for each other here. The changes were for West Ham. Oh my God, it was a different team when Lanzini Benrahma came on, and it speaks volumes.
Yeah, definitely. Jeff, your thoughts on that first half from both teams?
Yeah, I thought obviously it was a little bit lackluster for both sides, really. You know, United wouldn't have been happy with their performance, and I think Dennis is when he said that. I don't think they expected that lineup. I don't think they set up. I don't think they trained all week to come up against that lineup. Almost a touch of genius from Moyes, probably, but it went in the end. And I thought
normally you get the other way round, don't you?
I was a bit disappointed with Antonio. He obviously cut a dejected figure on top. I felt a lot of walking, a lot of flapping his arms, and you see him take a knock and he'd be rolling around, and you're thinking, you're not hurt, mate. It might have hurt a little bit, but you just need to get up and run through it. And he wasn't. And I just really feeling it from him. I thought Bowen buzzed around and created a bit of nuisance of himself, and I actually thought his performance was all right. And we did learn today that Craig Dawson is human. If that was the one game that Southgate watches after he watched our YouTube video the other day, we said that he should be in England team. If he saw that and decided this was the game he was going to watch him in, well, he ain't going to Europe. So yeah, that's about all I've got on the first half, really.
Yeah, I think we squeeze as much as we can out of that first 45. But second half, as you say, Jeff, we it turned out to be the winner. We went one behind Dawson with an own goal. I thought it was quite unlucky. I thought it was a good cross by a corner by Fernandez, and it was McTominay, wasn't it, who headed it on? Yeah,
I'd have liked Johnson to have done perhaps a bit better with McTominay there. He just got bullied. I mean, it's probably a bit of a mismatch for stature, but he just shrugged him aside, didn't he? And I thought Dawson just got caught out. I don't think it was his fault, really. I mean, when I say that he looked human in the, I don't think it's because of the goal. I don't really hold that against him. I just thought he just wasn't quite at the races where he has been in previous games. But better in the second half, wasn't it? Different team. We probably should have started the game like that, tried to get ahead, then shut it down in the other way round. But there you go, it's hindsight.
Yeah, but I think even before the goal, I think it was a cross from the right. It might have been Greenwood or it might have been Dan James. The ball come across, Dawson left it, and then Soufal had to get out of play because Rashford was breathing down his neck. So the goal, I wouldn't say coming, but they were adding that.
It came from that corner.
Yeah, but they were building that pressure United straight from the start of the second half, so it wasn't a great surprise when they did score. I mean, Dennis, what you thought on United's winner?
I was just absolutely delighted that McTominay didn't score because we would never hear the end of it. It's bad enough as it was. I mean, again, it got so bad for the first time in my life. Say what you like about me, I'm not a snowflake. I had to switch my DMs off because I just had enough of United fans. After TalkSport retweeted agreeing with Trevor Sinclair, the amount of bollocks I got in my DMs from United fans, I just couldn't be bothered. It was like my phone was just message. It's like, oh, okay, turn my DMs off for a bit, turn them back on now. But yeah, I was just delighted that it wasn't McTominay, if I'm honest with you. But look, it was coming. We were never going to get a shutout. Clean sheets are not, I say not our forte. We've had quite a few this season, but we've gone looking for clean sheets. We've never got them. Our best defence is an attack, really, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And we didn't really attack. And I want to comment, really, because, and Charles knows I went on a bit of a, not a bit around, but I had a couple of comparisons. But Jeff was right what he said about Antonio. And, you know, and again, I don't want to bring this debate up because we could talk how's come home and he has left. But again, it's when people used to sit there and moan about and rightfully moan about Haller. I'd have people on Twitter going, Antonio would have done this, Antonio would have done that. Tonight was an example where Antonio can't do everything. He can't do the things that Haller couldn't do sometimes. Yeah. And people need to stop expecting Antonio to be this absolute superstar, like Ronaldo-esque player that's going to fix every single one of our problems. It's unfair on him. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders right now, leading our attacking line. And I really, again, it's not come yet, but I do fear the day that fans start to turn on him a little bit, you know, if he keeps going without a goal or without a solid performance, you know, because he wasn't particularly great the other day against Leeds as well, I felt, but you know, he deserves it, as Angus says as well, Charles, he deserves it based on his past performances. But I just think it's a matter of time before the Twitter mobs sort of start going through him like they do other players, like they started going for 4-0s a little bit. We played the same formation against Brighton and Haller got absolutely scathed on Twitter for not fixing things. But Antonio was as isolated as he was, really. You know, Antonio looked completely fed up. Like Viv said, he was going down. It's like, just run it off. It's not the same Antonio he used to because he weren't set up to his strengths. And that's why I disagree with the formation. Sorry to go on a tangent, but just to caveat Jeff's point, I'm with him on that. But yeah, I'm just, you know, the goal was coming. If you set up to get a goalless draw, as West Ham, we typically do concede and it all goes out the window. And there were sod all options on the bench, you know. Our best defence is always an attack, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Just before I come to you, Charles, on the goal, I've got a comment from a United fan. Thanks for your comment, mate. As a Man U fan, I don't know why Moyes set up like that. I reckon if they played like they normally do, they could have given us a game. And yeah, couldn't have said it any better, mate. And share the same sentiments that we all do. So, Charles, your thought on the own goal, mate?
Yeah, I mean, echo what Jeff said. I think Johnson could have done better, both with the marking and also for the play before, because the whole reason Soufal needed to get rid of the ball for a corner was because Johnson completely left Rashford unmarked and running in. So yeah, I mean, Johnson could have done better. Again, you know, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because he's still young. He's still kind of finding his foot in the team. But I mean, yeah, just it's unfortunate for Dawson, isn't it? Just sort of doesn't really expect it and sort of, you know, cannons off him and into the net. And yeah, from that point on, I think it was all too predictable what was going to happen. You know, both with Moyes' personnel decisions and obviously what later became the outcome of the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, eventually the subs come on, which we mentioned. So Lanzini and Benrahma come off for Noble and Ben Johnson. But just before that, Fabianski pulled off a really good save again from Fernandes. He had to rush out and smothered Fernandes on the edge of the box, I think it was. But so a quote which Gary Neville said on commentary, which I don't know if you guys heard it. He said, "When the subs come on, you can turn Antics Roadshow off now." Which I think kind of summed up the first hour of West Ham's play.
Also, maybe a bit of a dig, bit of an unnecessary dig at Noble there, because I don't think Noble played badly. I just think it wasn't the right system for the opposition. I had no real problem with Noble's talents in this game. I don't really think he did anything wrong, but it's just three midfielders against United wasn't the one.
Yeah, especially if you're playing. And wasn't 3-5-2, was it? It's five at the back. If you're playing a flat back five, then three defensive midfielders, that doesn't add up, does it?
I laughed and said that Noble's going to stay up there for the height. You're going to have Rice and Soucek fit in for 5 centre backs, and then you're going to have, especially if Fornells was playing, Fornells would turn left wing back to Johnson's left back, Bowen right wing back. to Sufa at right back, like for a football manager, where you get everyone down at the back with one, just Antonio, then Noble in like some really weird Christmas tree formation, and Terry Venables will be turning over in his grave, and he's not even dead yet, you know.
Exactly.
But
yeah, we made the subs and immediately, West Ham played how we thought they'd play. Well, they should play from the start, and they have been in recent games. But obviously, we mentioned the Man City away game. They started doing that in the last half hour, pushing higher up the pitch and winning the ball up higher as well, while not creating a huge amount of chances, getting balls in the box and just looking much more of a threat. It was like polar opposites, wasn't it, lads?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously. Like you say, we were creating more chances, or we were at least we were trying to create more. But in terms of clear-cut chances, there really just wasn't any. There were a couple of half chances we had, but just nothing that we could really latch onto and make an impression on the game. And to be fair to Man United, I mean, they'd be delighted with how that game turned out for them. Get the goal and then just sit back and defend. And that's what they're good at. They're good at sitting back and being resolute. And we couldn't get anything. We couldn't get balls in the box to our own players. We couldn't get shots off of them or anything. So credit to them for sitting back. But we did sort of give it to them.
They're cracking on the counter attack as well, aren't they? They get up the pitch so quickly.
Yeah.
And if James had as much ability as he does, we'd have been in trouble. That had been 2-0 because they broke. Spurs and Leicester, unbelievable counter-attacking teams. They can just sit back, hold a shape, and then burst when they get the ball. We were very lucky not to concede there. I think Dan James's pass was just a touch behind Fernandes. And
it was a 4-on-2, wasn't it? At one stage.
Yeah, at one point they opened that 4-on-2. Yeah, and luckily it fizzled out. But they're deadly. I think they turned us over like that in the last game as well. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Diop turned into Roger Johnson temporarily as well.
What I'd say as well is he hasn't had the best season, but I was quite impressed with Harry Maguire's blocks today, especially when Soufel's low balls in. I was quite impressed with old Slabhead.
He defended.
He took a good whack to the face and kept playing on. England centre back, you love that. But United were there for the take.
Did he?
I thought he got whacked in the face.
He might have done. I don't know. He was down for a good while, to be fair.
Yeah, I think just going to come up again.
Well, we couldn't play it into the channels because we didn't have the players to do it. When your assets stripped, mate, that's what happens. Watch the West Ham Wave thing. I went on about 2 monologues about it to a Leicester fan and the United fan. The United fan got it. Yeah. The United fan.
He was quite restrained today, Bill.
On that subject, I went on about 5 or 6 other monologues about other shit. But the United fan did get it. The Leicester fan didn't. The United fan got it.
But I think it's whether even if we played a more positive formation and had more attackers on the pitch, whether we would have won today, I don't know. But that's sort of irrelevant because I'd rather, like you guys, lose 3-0, trying to score and then attack rather than just trying to shit house a draw. Like I think we tried to do today, and United they've had injury problems. I know Rashford did play, but I don't think he was at his best, and no Pogba and Van der Beek on the bench. Do you know what I mean? They were there for the taking. I felt Van der Beek could have come in and really damaged us today. He's not had the best start at United, but I thought he was the type of player that could really, really have hurt us. Yeah.
But they were there for the taking. Simply put, Moyes is not, as much as it's just professional disagreement, and I'm not just saying this to kiss his backside. Just professionally think I can see why he did what he did. I think he should have started differently, and history could have proven that right. But without the tools, what do you expect? You need to back a manager, and they haven't. I don't buy this. Moyes is happy with the squad. If Moyes is happy with that squad, he's not right. I mean, you're happy with, he probably wouldn't. Given the circumstances, he wouldn't be happy with Man United squad right now. I don't think David Moyes is that manager. I think David Moyes is a manager that sees the options that are out there and wants them, but is realistic that he's not going to get them at the stage. But if we get European football, he could get them, So we really need to be back in summer. Like, really, there is no excuse. Because I refuse to believe we're finishing lower than 8th, even after today. And even 8th, we get the bloody Conference League in Europa League, which is some European football, which is added revenue and another 10 minimum fixtures, So you got to back him. There's no excuses. The fans have backed him. The players have backed him. The board have now got to back him,
Yeah, couldn't say it any better. And then about 15 minutes or so from the end, Mason Greenwood hit the post. But in terms of West Ham chances, bits and pieces, wasn't it? And sort of half chances, but no shots on target. As we said, Dean Henderson didn't have to make a save, and that's for me by far the most disappointing aspect of the whole night, not to get a shot on target against. I mean, United have improved defensively, but they're still there to be got at, and to not have a shot on goal was incredibly disappointing.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing. And that happens to us more often than it should do, and more often than I know any other team that happens to. I can remember a handful of games in the last couple of years that we've not had a single shot on goal. Maybe we played Bournemouth last year or the year before, didn't have a shot on goal. I don't know what it is, but it seems to happen to us. We did create a few chances. United defended really well, actually. And like I say, I thought Maguire was pretty solid at the back there, and they were blocking things before they were getting through, stopping crosses before they were getting in the box, and blocking shots before they had anything to worry about. So I thought they were solid, and we did have a go at it in the second half, but it was just every time it was just like one step, just stuck close. You couldn't get that shot through. So yeah, disappointing. But I just hope the boys. I'm not going to dwell on it, and I hope the team doesn't. And firing against Arsenal and actually have a go and start some attacking players and try and win the game, because we set up to draw that game. There was no way more. Let's try and win this game of football. That wasn't his thinking.
No, so I think he was trying to shit house a point. Sort of Big Sam against Chelsea a few years ago, 19th century football. Was it Jose Mourinho said? I think Moyes is trying to get that approach, which is fine if you do get the point, but as Gary Neville said in commentary, if you lose and you play like that, it's going to look terrible.
I got a comment about that 19th century football that I love. Is that I remember in the papers the next week, people showed that in 19th century football, they used to play like a 1-1-4 whatever formation that was just all attacking midders and strikers. And the goal in 19th century games would finish like 16-12. So it'd be like, actually there was loads of goals. So Jose is literally just talking out of his arse. And I love the fact that the jigsaw to break down the wall. And again, as much as at the time I didn't like Big Sam, and I do think West Ham fans look at him with rose-tinted glasses, because we all do. We all look to the past with rose-tinted glasses. I do love his reaction when he smacks the table and starts laughing. Like, there's nothing quite when Big Sam starts laughing. There's nothing quite like it, because it's so out of character.
Yeah, also Chico Flores as well.
Oh yeah, but anyway, back to the point at hand. Yeah, like it was a bit like that though. It was a bit like that performance. The difference is Allardyce had a much more defensive-minded team that was able to pull that off. Ours not so much, again, because in 13-14 we had more depth. We may have not had the quality, because they weren't quality in depth, but we had players to come in. We don't now.
What novelty,
Why did we move stadium? Sorry, but it needs to be said.
Yeah, no, fair dues. All right, we'll wrap up shortly, lads. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap up?
Just, I think Solskjaer's reaction at the end of the game summed it all up. I think he looked like a very relieved man. I think he was expecting us to really kind of batter them about tonight, but he was all smiles at the end. So, I saw a lot of comments on Watch Long today saying, at least it's progress. And I'm like, yeah, it is progress, but it's also a missed opportunity. So, I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. We've got quite a big game against Arsenal now, who seem to be sort of climbing up the table. So just as long as we're all sort of focused on that task now and getting some good points before the international break, then we should be in good stead for the rest of the season.
Yeah, good stuff. Jeff, Dennis, anything further?
I'll leave the floor open for Jeff, mate.
No, I'd just rather draw a line under that game and just
Yeah, move on. Yeah,
it was. You know what? It's the same when we played Liverpool. He set up wrong, gave him too much respect. We got battered, and the next game we bounced back. We played a lot better. So I'm just hoping that's going to happen again, and I'll try not to get out about it.
I look at
Dennis, ignore it. Dennis, ignore it. Block it out.
Again, seriously, Gicky, you don't know what you're talking about. You just don't know what you're talking about. We have 14, right? Players that can play in a position other than goalkeeper that have played 1 minute of Premier League football minimum. All of the other players have not played Premier League football.
Gicky, I need to go to bed, mate. Please.
Yeah, right,
why you got to ask us now?
Mate. Yeah, okay, we'll sign those players, but you take those players out, we don't have enough for a starting 11.
Oh, Dennis, you're not going to.
That's it.
Dennis, you're not going to like this one. You're not going to like this one either. Then.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Go on, have at him then.
I think Gicky's he's just a what you call on the old forum days a wind up merchant. Yeah. Go and be on troll, Gicky.
That's absolutely fine. Then you keep McTominay, we'll keep Rice. Happy days.
Yeah. Again, Jeff,
much better
I'm
than
with you, mate.
Rice. Much better.
You can have your fucking McMayonnaise. Have your McMayonnaise. We will have Declan Rice.
Yeah, no problems. No worries.
Terrible.
We're a smaller team.
You can keep McMayonnaise.
Weaker of the two players.
As much as you like, mate. We all have Declan Rice. Rice, baby.
No, on that note, we'll finish up. So, what's the roast? It's the roast, Dennis. All right, well, thanks guys for joining. Thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Like this video if you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.